Welcome to Veterans Rant, Rattle, and Roll. I'm Sergeant First Class Retired David L. Parker. I'm your host. And welcome to episode 7 of Forgotten Truckers, a story based on the journals, right over there on my shoulder, there it is, that I wrote from March 19th, 2003, all the way through the Forgotten Trucker adventure. Now, we've already talked from March 19th, which was a Wednesday, all the way up to April 17th, the day that then President George W. Bush said, end of combat operations. Now, we all sort of know how that went from there, right? We're in Iraq today, and this is September of 2020, right? So we went from Fort Drum, sort of cold, to Fort Bliss, not so cold, to Kuwait, not cold at all, into Baghdad. And I have finally gotten off that damn truck, but I've not gotten away from the truckers. I am now with Bravo Company 3rd of the 502nd, 2nd Brigade of the 101st Airborne Division, the Bushmasters, the Widowmakers, the Bulldogs, all the above. And we're going to pick up our adventure, our story of sharing information for you, in a hopes to make a connection with anybody who's a veteran to tell you, hey, we've all gone through some stuff. Don't give in to the war within. Please, I'm here to help try to stop, prevent, put an end to, wipe out, make it a memory when people say the 22 veterans a day. Stay with us. All right, let's jump to Baghdad, Iraq, 2003, April 18th. Entry. The fighting last night was till 0400 this morning. We police called the entire park for Eagle 6 is coming, Major General Petraeus, to present Purple Hearts and other awards soon. Dog and pony show in Baghdad. They recalled all the patrols for this. End of entry. I remember this day. There's something pretty cool coming. Okay, it's not cool, but something interesting is going to happen. But can you imagine what it feels like? I'm sure you can, especially if you're a veteran, to go hands across an amusement park in Baghdad to beautify the park because the commanding general is coming into your house to give out some awards. Now listen, what's more military? What's more traditional than spit shining a turd so the general can come give some awards? Nothing. I mean, that's like spit shine boots and good haircuts and pressed uniforms, and you pick up rocks and dust them off because the general's coming. In Baghdad, 2003. Woohoo! Yes, I have a lot of humor in my voice, a stupid smile on my face, because I think about that as that old E5. I think of that as that platoon sergeant that I became, and the retired E7, and I go, what the hell? Give me a break. All right? We're dirty, we're nasty, we're tired, we're doing what we got to do. We're sleeping on the ground. We're living in, I'm personally living in a scary house, a spook house, and this dude's going to roll up in his Humvee, give some awards, and go back to his palace. Listen, all the way to 22 years in the Army, I was never really that big of a fan of generals. Now, I may have, by what happens at the end of this, to what happened to me through the 101st, I may have a little bit of bias against the commander at that time. Not for what happened to him later when he ran the CIA, but just, you know, he sort of gave me the finger in a couple of months. So don't expect me not to sort of give him back a finger. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's go. Next entry. Got word this morning that my BCT back at Drum has been ordered to Afghanistan. They are leaving in July for 1 year. Looks like I will leave here, go back to Drum, and then leave for Afghanistan. So June, I'll go back. July, deploy again. Sounds good to me. That would make 16 or 17 months deployed. Cool. End of entry. At this time, I had no idea how deployments were going to work. In April, May of 2003, nobody knew nothing about how these deployments were going to work. If I'd have had any idea what was going to happen, if I'd have had any clue, I may not have been quite so motivated about a 16, 17-month tour. We just no way to know what's coming, right? We don't have vision. We can't look forward. We can't tell the future, right? I mean, I was I'm going to end up with 61 months overseas. Deployed a lot. All right, next entry. Starting to become part of this company, I fill in anywhere for anything they need, like yesterday patrolling, the last night being on call for QRF. Today, ready to watch so others can go to the award ceremony. I'm excited that my second award of the CIB will be in the exact same unit as when I was first awarded it. Hell, might get another star on it in Afghanistan with 431. At this rate, is going to be tough to get my degree done with all the deployments coming up. I'll just have to figure it out. End of entry. Okay, even though I was a 34-year-old E5, I didn't quite understand the era thing for the Combat Infantryman's Badge. I now get it. So even if I was still in today, the era is still going. So that second star of I would never have been number 121 of 119. The reason I say that because from what I understand, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but the last time I looked, and if memory serves, there's 119 people in the Infantry Hall of Fame that actually served and got 2 stars? 2 stars on their CIB. Yes, I got one. I got my first one. My first CIB award was in Desert Shield, Desert Storm. And then, of course, 10 years later, here we are. All right. Now, there's a really cool picture in the book. I'm in DCUs using an RPG launcher in a tub as an agitator to do my laundry. Right? Yeah, I literally used an RPG launcher in an amusement park in Baghdad in 2003 to wash my clothes. It's very interesting to read the notes. So let's jump to the next entry. We're still on 18 April, okay? 1900. A captain came looking for me today. He wanted to talk in depth about the truckers. We talked about missions. He was very interested in the lack of support we had received. He had another captain with him from JAG and a sergeant who took a ton of notes. Okay, pause the entry. This was a 4.5-hour chat. Me and this captain literally walked around the amusement park and talked. We talked about the different missions. I showed him the journal. We talked about the soldiers. We talked about getting sent to secure a bridge. We talked about being called resource leashes. We talked about everything and a lot more about what happened. And the young E5 wrote, I think he filled his notebook. And a lot of times he'd go, no. And I look at him and go, what? So, back to the entry. For a while I was wondering if he was trying to say we did something wrong. Then the JAG captain told me that they were not investigating any of us for anything. They were trying to figure out how something like this had happened. They said it to me before they left that the truckers would be taken care of for their action. End of entry. Never heard a word. Now, I know that captain, both of them, talked to other of the Forgotten Truckers because the Forgotten Truckers were nearby. 2nd Brigade had kept their word. Now, I get it. It's only been a couple of days. But they had kept their word, and they were going to keep their word all the way to the end of our mission. They're never going to give up the Forgotten Truckers. Not for 1 second. Which I salute the brigade commander for that. I wish I could shake his hand. But nobody ever said a word. All those notes and all that investigation probably went into somebody's trash can. They're probably too worried about somebody's OER or NCOER or something. I can't imagine. I can't imagine that they could investigate deep enough to actually go, you're responsible for this. But I guess they didn't want to try. Right? So it's a lot of information, a lot of stuff going on. Spent all that day in the compound. We didn't go anywhere. I mean, we're talking, think about it, 4-hour conversation. 4-hour conversation about the truckers. All right, let's move on to April 19th. Oh, boy. Next entry. Boring day, played spades for 5 hours. Who hasn't, right? We loaded all the duffels into huge civilian trucks, moving out in 2 to 4 days to secure Mosul, a 1.7 million people city. This should be fun. Unexplained explosions all day that shakes the buildings, catches everyone off guard. You know, that's when they started introducing us to IEDs and V-beds. Literally, that's like, hey, wake up. Here you go. Time for you to learn how this war is going to be fought. You can call it a liberation party if you want to. You can say combat operations over if you want to, Mr. President. But the Iraqi people didn't see it that way. Now, I'm going to say something a lot of soldiers agree with me and a lot don't. If somebody was to be a liberation force and invaded our country, oh, I know. Couldn't do it. Too many guns, blah, blah, blah. I got it. That's what I'm talking about. But if somebody was, how long before people like you and I started messing with them? If you ever went to Iraq or Afghanistan, how many times did we watch those people sitting on their porch drinking chai tea and just watch us all day long, and then we were all surprised when something hit us? You know? We weren't catching up quite as fast as they were. You know what I'm saying? I mean, literally, we're in Iraq, and I was told that Saddam, now I don't know how to prove this, and it could be bullshit. It was just what we were told, and I saw a lot of it. I was in Iraq a lot, and I mean a lot. The rumor was that Saddam had gone out and bought an artillery round and mortar round for every man, woman, and child in Iraq. I swear it seemed like that was a true rumor. I swear I got that in a briefing. Anyway, doesn't matter. All right, so boring day, boom, boom, boom. Hey, let me tell you something. Nothing will wake you up or shake you out of a spades game like a boom next to you. And we're in this amusement park that's got all these apartment buildings over here and buildings over there, just completely surrounded. We got a field down this way, but we're surrounded. So when something boom nears us, it's echoing off those walls, and it was quite to shake your brain up. 2000, next entry. Right on schedule. The shooting is now to the northwest. They hide all day to come out at night to ambush us. Thank God they can't shoot. So far, we have walked out without a scratch. They're not so lucky. They lose 1 to 3 people a night. Hey, wait. It's over. Operations is over. Forgot to tell them and us, LOL. Ambushes back then were hasty for sure. They loved to pull their weapons around the corner and squeeze the trigger, you know. Inshallah, God's will, they're going to hit you. Well, luckily he didn't want us to get hit. All right? That happened a lot. They'd love to take shots at us. That didn't happen every patrol. It didn't happen every time. But we American soldiers that I was with at that time like to aim when we fire back. Different results. All right, April 20th. What I wrote the morning of April 20th. He is risen. 1970 years ago, Jesus beat death and arose from the tomb. I'm so thankful he sacrificed himself for me, and I trust him to do what he said he will do and does. Thank you, Lord. As I sit on radio watch, I can hear a sunrise Easter service going on in the background. Someone with a wonderful voice is singing. What a great sound. Christ being praised in the middle of Baghdad, surrounded by Muslims in the capital city of Iraq. They just finished their morning prayers across the loudspeakers about 15 minutes before the service started. End of entry. I don't care what your religious point of view is. That's your business. But I was pretty inspired to be sitting around and pulling radio watch and hearing Christianity taught in the den of Muslim. I mean, we're talking about a lot of people. And they have these crazy loud speakers on top of their mosques. And it's funny because it's almost like they're in competition because there's so many mosques. And they start that singing at sunrise, the prayer. And they do it every day. They're very devoted. They're very devoted. They're not kidding. They're going to do it. It's loud as hell. And that's one sound that definitely gives me the goosebumps. Because you get so beat up by it. You know, you can't get away from it. I find it surprising that we were in Iraq in 2003 and even today, and people were getting their heads cut off for their religious views. Here we are 17 years later. That kind of stuff still happens, but if I say something, I'm an Islamophobe. Next entry. We have to pack the Hummer today. We're getting ready for the GAC up north. Was told our sector will run all the way to the Turkey-Iraq border. The commander went into town and bought 50 live chickens and 1 lamb. We dug a trench and put a grate across it after we started a fire. I and Staff Sergeant Gary Jackson and another staff sergeant cooked them all. Damn, it was hot. We got 5 bags of pita bread and 7 cases of Coke and had Easter snack. That was fun. I got overheated while cooking, so when I was done, I drank 3 quarts of water and passed out for about 3 hours. Felt a ton better after I woke up. End of entry. I literally have pictures of this. Now, I have Staff Sergeant, now retired, Sergeant First Class Gary Jackson's permission to say his name on his broadcast. Gary and I are still friends today. It was like when we met, we were friends forever. He was actually my first interview on Veterans Rant, Rattle, and Roll. And he's living a nice life out there on a big lake. As a matter of fact, I've talked to Gary as recently as a week ago. Now, the pictures show a bunch of soldiers and a big pile of feathers as they gutted the chickens, and then these grates that we found that was used for crates. We'd taken the sides off, all the chickens being cooked, and then my tattooed butts right there with, shaved head and doing my thing. Now, watching grunts figure out how to kill and clean a chicken, and when most of them had never even seen a live one, was definitely a sight for me to see. I still believe that it was the best chicken I've ever eaten. I still laugh every time I think about the Easter chicken and the big blue bongo truck that pulled up to the gate with the chickens and lambs. I do. That's some funny stuff, right? And it's just funny. All right. So next entry, didn't end up on radio watch or guard duty roster, so I'm going to bed. So Easter Sunday was a mellow day. Dug a hole, cooked some chicken, right? Did a few things like that. Heard an Easter service, got a nap, and got told we were going to move up to Mosul. Because, the Army's always about hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. April 21st, 0400 entry. Wake up! So much for sleep. Had to pack my ruck and repack the truck for the GAC, meeting the supply sergeant, and then had to repack his vehicle for it was not packed well. I chatted with the company XO. He's a West Pointer, top of his class. After he is done with the Army time, he's going to go CIA. All packed and lined up, not to leave until 0600. The old hurry up and wait, like always. The morale is high. Ana Mosul is supposed to be the last major city in Iraq, not under our control. It's 280 miles to the north, very close to Syria. We'll get to go clear control and get the city going. The truckers are here. They're going to be part of the movement to Mosul, so good to see them. End of entry. The truckers were literally parked inside the amusement park. I was off of that truck and I was never out of ice. Well, they were out of eyesight a couple of times, but they were always local, probably within the same mile. But now they're like right here. Right here. As a matter of fact, I ended up taking a nap on my old truck, hanging out with those guys. And we talk about it, and they were bragging on how well the commandos, the Widowmakers have been taken care of. They were bragging about how well 2nd Brigade, and especially 3rd Battalion 502nd Infantry, was treating all the truckers. And again, I salute the chain of command because they grabbed on to those soldiers and said, that's it. They're not going anywhere, right? As a matter of fact, here's a note I wrote. As I spoke with the 2 staff sergeants about the last few days, they told me that they were now under the umbrella of 2nd BCT, no longer left to find worker supplies. I believe that the 2 captains told the right people and the 2nd BCT commander put an end to the truckers being left to their own devices. So good to know they sleep in a compound every night, no longer scrounging for supplies and support. One of them even showed me on a map the route we're going to take. Wow, a map, we both said. So good to sit back against the 5-ton, smoke some cigarettes with the other guys that I only been away from for a few days. It's freaking outstanding, all right? So it's now like 8 in the morning. Next entry. Gunfire, gunfire, gunfire. All the time now. They are shooting in all directions. They appear to be shooting at each other. Humongous explosion at the front gate to the amusement park. As I write, piece of metal flies by and hits the wall a few feet from my head. This explosion shook the whole building, just rocked everything, shook the trucks. My ears are ringing. Was so big I felt the heat where I'm sitting. Damn, it was a car bomb. They got a 0 on us. You missed this Wow, just wow, what an experience. End of entry. So that's my first V-bed. And the fact that I have to say it's my first V-bed sort of sucks, because, of course, there's more in my future. But they rammed that freaking gate. Luckily, they didn't get through, and they blew that thing up. Man, they could have kicked our tuchuses. That thing shook me to the bone. I mean, I was like, whoa! That was crazy, right? We all sort of got on edge there for a while after that, right? Got a little wow, what the hell was that kind of thing going on, right? It was definitely a challenge. All right, 2000, same day. Big E yells, "Get it on!" I jumped up to see an amazing number of tracers going up into the sky from all directions. Single shots, automatic fire everywhere. Everyone is getting a full battle rattle and then move, and more fire. More fire. Amazing light show. Blood is pumping. 45 minutes passed and it's still firing. Rounds bouncing across the amusement park from time to time. People in the apartment buildings taking advantage of the shooting and taking shots at us. I ran and made sure all the truckers were good to go, up and ready. Some were under the trucks for cover. Been an hour. They're still shooting. As we crouched behind cover and wait, across the rail came a saying, "It's celebration fire. Celebration fire. The lights are on in Baghdad." Holy moly. I literally have a picture that somebody took right here, and it shows tracers going everywhere. Because Iraqis celebrate everything with gunfire. Everything. If they have a kid, they go outside and blast a magazine. If they get a girlfriend, they shoot rounds in the air. If they went to the bathroom the first time in 3 days, they shoot rounds in the air. They don't need a reason to shoot rounds. Right? Now this starts at 10 o'clock. Next entry, 0025. Every now and then I hear a few shots. What a weird day. A car bomb. Celebration fire. What will tomorrow bring? End of entry. Every single time I laid my head down from March 20th all the way through this crap, I wondered the same thing. What will tomorrow bring? And for my own excitement, it always brought something different. Something new. Something that made you go, well, shit. All right. April 22nd, 0430. We are underway. GAC to Mosul. 280 miles to the north. The XO is in charge. I and Big E are riding in the back of the Hummer. We packed it very well. We placed a gurney across the back to lay on and strapped a Land Cruiser seat we pulled out to sit on. Looks like the Clampets are going to Mosul. I'm very sure we didn't meet any Army standards whatsoever. I'm 100% sure we look like the Clampets going to Mosul. And I know that because even the Forgotten Truckers driving the 5 tons were like, what the hell? But I was amazed at how comfortable it was to lay on a gurney and not sit in a 5-ton seat. All right, so that's 0430 we roll out. 1230, one of the tires got a flat tire. We're taking fire. They take a couple shots, then run behind some berms. Then they do it again. The train here is getting green as we go north. End of entry. So they literally come out and go pop, 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 and then they'd run. I guess nobody told them we aim back. Anyway, 1600, another truck with a flat tire. This area is very green and hilly. Again, some locals are trying to shoot at us. We have the berms this time and return fire. Took 2.5 hours to fix the tire. End of entry. 2.5 hours? Why? Because somebody didn't check their equipment. At least when I drove a 5-ton, I knew what equipment I had. 1700. This is why I keep checking to see if a third arm or a third eye or a kidney's going to fall out. Entry. All of a sudden, we can't breathe in the back of the Hummer. Something in our eyes that is burning like nothing I've ever felt. The pain is intense. Flushing them makes it worse. Convoy stops. Others are having the same problem. Approximately 30 minutes later, it's letting up. No one knows what we drove through. It was worse than CN gas ever thought of being. Now think about that. 20 soldiers were hit by something. Nobody knows what it was. And it was so painful that you literally laid there on the ground and clenched your hands. And every now and then tried to figure out how to get it out of your eyes and out of your breath. And it was just crazy. Wacko. And it didn't make no damn sense. And to this day, we still don't know what it was. Put that in your VA claim. Unknown substance, burned eyes, 30 minutes. 1800, Mosul. The city has been bombed hard. Buildings destroyed everywhere. We crossed the Tigris once again. pulled into one of Saddam's palaces to relax in the compound. Beautiful place as always. Across the street is the Iraqi Communist Party headquarters. Stop the entry. They have a communist flag flying on this freaking building in Iraq. I want to say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but I don't want to say it like that. Okay? Next, and keep going. They have guards on the rooftops. Not sure who is more nervous right now, them or us. I look at one of the men on the rooftop through my scope who would make an excellent shot. Was told no. Right? So we get there, 6 o'clock in the evening. Now we're looking at communists. What in the hell? 2000, another entry. Move out to link up with the other part of Bravo. It's been raining off and on all day. Really nice weather. As we turned left to enter the road leading to our new compound, we took fire from a doorway. I fired 3 rounds at him. He went down hard. The Delta Company 50 caliber gunner opened fire immediately into the same building. Got inside the compound and discovered it's a soap factory. All this soap and filthy soldiers with no water to bathe. What a bummer. So this end of entry, it wasn't a soap factory. It was a storage facility. It was a car parts facility. But we had embargoes on Iraq so long that they didn't have any of this stuff. But we had more soap than what we could do with. This was a 2-story building. It had shelves for days. It was insane. Next entry. We are still keeping low due to them shooting at the compound. No one has been hit. Damn it. Spoke too soon. Specialist took one to the knee. All quiet now. Time for sleep. So we're going to wrap up today's Forgotten Truckers as we arrive in Mosul because I can. So now we've gone Fort Drum, Fort Bliss, Kuwait, Iraq from the southern border to Kuwait all the way to the Mosul border. I'm now with Bravo Company 3rd of the 502nd of the 101st, a unit that is always on my mind because I was a young private there also years before. And we're in a place that we're going to give an interesting name to that I'll tell you about in the next episode. The reason I share this with you is I'm trying to make connections. I'm trying to get people to understand that we all went through something. And I want to prevent, stop, put an end to, make history of what we call Stop 22. My fellow brothers and sisters, please reach out to somebody if you're in a bad place. Please. You put your toes on the line. You put your feet on the yellow footprints. You did what you had to do. Don't stop. Step it up. Don't give in to the darkness. Don't give in to the darkness. We all went through some crazy crap. I'm with you. Reach out to somebody. Send me a message. Come on to Veterans Rant, Rattle, and Roll. Interview with me. Tell your story. Share your story. Make a connection with fellow veterans. Because I tell you what, as far as I'm concerned, veterans are some of the greatest people on the planet, bar none. And if you served, as far as I'm concerned, you're an awesome human being. And I thank you for sharing and taking your time with me, sharing your time with me. Until I talk to you again, this is Sergeant First Class, retired, David L. Parker. I'm out.